Hi everybody. As you can see, I'm back in North Carolina. If you've seen any of my other vlogs, this is a road I end up on quite a bit. And headed into town, pick up some parts for my lawnmower. One of the blade spindles, the pulley kind of wore out, and I had to order one. Taking a couple weeks to get it in, so I'm in to go pick it up at my old work. So I've got to ride all the way into Charlotte. Good 45-minute ride, but it'll be all right. It's after rush hour now, and it's nice enough so I'm in my shirt sleeves. Well, I had something I want to talk to you about. I had a experience yesterday. About 2 weeks ago, I bit down on something pretty hard, and something didn't feel right. And I think what I finally figured out was that I'd actually broken a tooth, kind of in an odd way. It wasn't. Nothing fell off of it so much as it just was, you know, just kind of wiggled and everything. And so I finally was up here in North Carolina again, and that's where my dentist is, and I called him and asked if he could fit me in real quick, and he said sure, he'd come look at it. Come on in, he'd look at it, and got in there and took an x-ray, and sure enough, I had split the tooth down far enough to where he said he didn't think he could save it. So at the age of 62.5 years old, with the exception of my wisdom teeth, which were pulled when I was in my early 20s, I've lost my very first tooth. To some people, this may not be a big deal. I mean, you know, teeth come and go, I guess. With people, you know, I know a lot of people who have bridge work and have a full fault set, you know, things like that. But, you know, you really try to look after your teeth because you want them to last you a lifetime. And that particular tooth just didn't quite make it, unless I'm going to get squashed today. And even then, it missed it by a day, so that's the way it goes. But I thought I'd tell you about my experiences with the dentist, and not this dentist, but my overall experiences. And I got to go back in history a little bit. I was born in 1952. That's a long time ago, and they didn't have all the modern conveniences that they have now, as far as the way of dentistry. They didn't know all the stuff they know, and that kind of thing. And but my dentist was a family friend, and I'm estimating, because, you know, I don't really know and there's nobody left to ask, but he was probably late 50s, early 60s. So that means that when he went to dental school, it was probably World War I. So, you know, probably dental school there was just hammers and chisels, you know what I mean? So anyway, he was a real nice guy, really good friends with my family, and he was a good dentist. But I had a real problem as a kid. I had very, very soft teeth, and no matter how much I brushed, no matter how much we tried, no matter how much my mother made sure that I brushed, and even brushed my teeth as a child, every time I would go in to visit him, which was every 6 months, I would have more and more cavities, and he'd have to fill them. And I think my record, and I don't freak out here, I think my record for a 6-month period was 15 new cavities that I had developed. Excuse me. And as a child, what they would give me back then, and it's a different compound now, but everybody still calls it Novocaine. They give me something to deaden my teeth so that he could do the work on them. I had so much Novocaine as a child that I actually asked him on several occasions not to use any, because the tingling sensation, the feeling of when it wore off was just getting to be to where it was more than I could handle as a child. So anyway, that's an aside. But Novocaine's my friend now. I have no problem with it. But with him, well, he made a prediction to my mother. He was my dentist up until I went off to college. And he retired. I think he retired or died probably shortly after I did. I think he must have been in his late 70s, early 80s when he finally retired. So he got my mother aside, and he said, he was talking to her about my teeth, and he said, I'm really worried about his teeth. And she said, well, the bottom ones are kind of crooked. Do you think we should invest in braces for him? And my dentist told her, said, absolutely not. He said, as soft as my teeth were, and the way they were getting cavities, he said that they would rot out from under the braces before I ever got my teeth straight. The teeth would be rotten and have to be pulled. So anyway, went off to school with crooked teeth, and didn't go to the dentist for a little while. You know, you go off to school and you're kind of supposed to be in charge of things, and I really despise going to the dentist, so I didn't go for about 3 years. And finally, a friend of mine who I had known in high school had moved up to the Raleigh area where I was going to school, and she was a dental hygienist. And she said, "Come on in, my dentist is a great guy, the guy I work for, he's a real super guy." And so I went in there and had to have a lot of work done, had to go back quite a few times. And the day I finished my last little bit of work with him and came out, you know, all filled and drilled and you know, everything. I think I had to have a cap or two, you know, a couple things. I had a lot of work done. Came out and I walked around back of the building where I'd had to park, and I noticed that there was a 911 Porsche back there, really nice new one, and it had Doc 1 or something like that for the license plate. So I knew exactly who it belonged to, and I hope he appreciates all those payments I helped him make on that car. Well, you know, went through school, went back to him once or twice, but really never had to have any serious work done after that. And when I got back to North Carolina to stay after I graduated, excuse me, not North Carolina, I got back to the Charlotte area to stay and you know, set up a home and all that. I went to another dentist that my father knew, and he was a real nice guy. He was probably late 30s, early 40s, just the nicest guy. I mean, a guy that you would definitely want to go and hang out with at a bar, drink a beer or two, and just, you know, shoot the bull. A guy that would probably be on one of these, you know, at some point in time. Well, his what he liked to do, his hobby, was bicycle riding, and he would get out here on roads like this and ride and ride and ride. Well, he was riding one day, and someone passed him or something and cut him off, and he flew off the road. When he hit the ditch, he flipped over his motorcycle, and while he was in the air upside down, he hit with his back flat up against a concrete abutment and was seriously hurt. The end result of it was he lost his spleen and he lost one of his kidneys. But he was young, you know, but he was healthy, relatively young, and he, you know, he was able to recover from that. And I went back to go see him for a regular checkup, and he seemed to be in good spirits. He seemed to be in pretty good health. And as it was, I went in there, and I had previously had 2 wisdom teeth had to be cut out of my jaw. They had to be operated on, so I had to be, you know, put under and all that stuff. And they couldn't do that in the dentist's office. I had to go to the hospital for that. But I was in his office, and he said, you know, these other 2 wisdom teeth here, how would you know, would you like those out? You know, it looks like they're starting to crowd things in. I said, well, yeah, but you know, last time I had to have them cut out. He said, I'll have them out here in 5 minutes. And you know, he did. He numbed me up, and after I was good and numb, he got back in there and pop, pop, they came out just as slick as a whistle. I could not believe it. And so it was excellent. And again, you know, really nice guy. I had a good time talking to him. Well, about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months after that, did my visit with him, I got my dad called me and said that my dentist had passed away. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, yeah, he only had 1 kidney. Well, that kidney failed. And before they could get him, you know, get a transplant match for him, he was dead. And you know, that just goes to show you, you know, the guy was healthy as he could be, in that one little accident, you know, the freakish accident, and he was, and it eventually killed him. But that's the sad part of the story. And what I'm going to do, I've got to go up here and stop up here real quick. What I'm going to do is stop here, and I don't know if I'll make this a 2-parter, but if not, I'll be right back.